Gilles, what are you looking at? It's 3 p.m. somewhere. Let's talk some props.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of just floored by that Damian Lillard game last night because, and I don't want to get too caught up into the woulda, coulda, shoulda because I feel like everybody has one of those bets that they just leave on the cutting room floor. But I was looking at his 8+ 3-pointers last night at 16-1. And I was like, I don't know. He takes a lot of attempts. I don't know. It's Houston. And of course, he has 11. He's shooting like beyond belief. So I'm not going to take my foot off the gas on this market here. I'm going to be looking at somebody else. But guys who aren't necessarily those snipers, like obviously Damian Lillard, he's tied with Steph for the most 3-point attempts in the association. But I'm going to be looking at this Sixers Heat matchup, Sean. And a guy that I think is going to get a lot of play tonight, specifically for, a revenge angle or just, looking at points or maybe even a double-double, triple-double prop. I'm going to be looking at Jimmy Butler, but instead I'm going to be looking at him to hit just one 3-pointer and against the Sixers team. And Butler is a bit hit or miss with it because, I mean, we talk about it and we joke about it like playoff Jimmy. Like some games that just looks like he's, I don't want to say checked out, but just that's not really his game. And then other games he's more aggressive, especially teams that maybe are more contenders. Like, for example, he has hit a 3-point shot over the last month, twice against the Bucks, against the Nuggets, and the Cavs. But then you see him play against teams like the Hornets and the Magic, and he just attacks the basket, which, again, rightfully so. But one of the things about Jimmy as well is you wouldn't think this, but he's actually shooting his best 3-point percentage since joining the Heat. Now, it's not incredible. It's only around 34%. But the fact that, you look through his time being a Miami Heat player, he just doesn't really shoot the three that well. And this season, he's actually starting to pick that up. And facing a Sixers team, in 2 games since the All-Star break, both the Grizzlies and Celtics shot over 40% from 3 on that defense. And Joel Embiid, obviously they're top 5 in opponents' points in the paint. It's going to be difficult for the Heat to be able to get in there and score at the basket. So I think they're going to probably try to gravitate rather more towards the perimeter. Now, Sean, another thing, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't love playing motivation angles. I find motivation, like this is the NBA, you would think everybody should be motivated every day, but that isn't the case. Otherwise, we wouldn't have load management. But there are some revenge angles for this spot that I think really stand out. For example, you brought this up when you were talking with Matt about the Heat just struggling right now. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Jimmy was pretty vocal about things needing to change. I mean, we remember last year with that big blow up with Spo, how the Heat kind of rang off a bunch of wins and 3-point barrages coming off of that. But Jimmy as well against the Sixers, it's been heavily publicized, that they chose Tobias over him. And, when he plays against Philly, he chooses violence because if you just look at the last year's playoff series, man, like he had a 3-point in all 6 games in that playoff series. He had 2 or more 3-pointers in 3 of the 6 games. Now, last season, they played 3 times. He hit a 3 in 1 of them. But a lot of what with Jimmy is about the odds representation. So we're seeing a +165 to +150 range to have 1 3-pointer, whereas these expected odds should probably be closer to +120. So I would play it down to +120, and I'm even going to sprinkle as well on Jimmy for 2 3-pointers at +1,000.
What's also interesting too about Jimmy is he's going to get good looks. People are, in most teams in the league, rightfully so, are worried about Jimmy going to the basket and drawing fouls. He lives at the free throw line, gets easy points with the stop clock and with the clock stopping there for Miami. But typically, if he's going to get the attempts, they're going to be clean, good looks. So if he can hit a couple for you tonight, that'd be great. I like that play a lot. All right, let's move on.
Just one. Just one.
Yeah, just one. We're not greedy. We're not
Yeah.
greedy over here. Just one. We'll put the ladder in, but we'll take just one, Jimmy. That's all Gilles needs. All right, let's go over to Philly. You're looking at somebody else on that side of the 3-point prop.
Yeah, so this guy has been one of my go-tos for years. It's the Mother Tucker. We're taking PJ Tucker. And last game we took him to hit a 3. It was around -115. They have jacked that up now to -145 for him to hit 1 3. But I actually like him to have 2 threes in this game, and I'm going to sprinkle on it at +360. So it's a bit of a revenge spot versus Miami. I don't really know if I could call it a true revenge spot just because I feel like PJ Tucker has played for like 10 different teams in his career at this point. But just from a recent shooting standpoint, he's shooting 52% from three in February. He has hit at least 1 3 in 7 of 10 games this month, 2+ threes in 3 straight games. And when I bet 3-point props, Sean, obviously we can look at guys like Jimmy and the star players like a Damian Lillard, but I like to look at the periphery players because you can get better value on it because less people are betting on those guys. And then also, one of the things that I look at for periphery players on how I judge if I'm going to play a guy isn't necessarily how many threes they're taking, but it's the amount of shots that are from three. So, for example, PJ takes around 5 shots per game. It's about 3.5 shots coming from three. So he's looking around 60% for all total shots coming from three. So that's great. That's kind of the key rank here. And we're playing against a Miami Heat team like Kyle Lowry's not going to play tonight. And they rank 29th in 3-point shots made per game for opponents, along with 3-point attempts. They're ranking 23rd. So right now, they're already very vulnerable on the perimeter. The Heat are not going to have one of their better perimeter defenders in Kyle Lowry. And also the Sixers as a team in general, they're 4th in the NBA in 3-point shooting percentage. So I feel like PJ Tucker, this is a great spot where you could be able to get decent value around plus 360, especially when you're looking at previous matchups in this spot where the odds for over 1.5 3-pointers was probably around plus 250 to plus 240 to plus 250.
I like it. PJ is going to get clean looks as well. Dribble drive. They always look for PJ in the corner. Gilles, always a pleasure talking the prop market. Look out for Gilles. He's going to be breaking down a bunch of NBA going out here the rest of the way, the next 20 plus games and into the playoffs for Green Dot Daily for Action Network. Make sure you follow him in the app. G Dog, thanks a lot, man.
All right. Cheers, Sean. Talk again soon.